KEET TV presents Homework Hotline, the after-school show that fuses learning with fun. Watch local teachers bring the classroom on air and online. This is Homework Hotline.
Hi, I'm Beth Baker and I teach math at McKinleyville Middle School.
And I'm Jody Himango. I teach 7th grade science at McKinleyville Middle School.
Yeah, welcome to Homework Hotline. And today it looks like you have an amazing project all organized for us. I can hardly wait to see what we're going to do.
Yeah, so we're going to build candle carousels and we're wearing our masks because here in California, we're on the purple tier, which means the most worrisome. And so to be safe, we're going to wear our masks and distance.
Yep.
So we're going to build.
We washed our hands
in really hot water.
We did.
For 20 seconds, which when you count is a very long time. I find I typically actually only wash my hands 7 seconds unless I'm very thoughtful about it.
Sometimes I make myself go get hand sanitizer just to like double down on it.
Yeah. Then so needless to say, we're very clean here. So here's what we're gonna do today.
Okay.
We're building we're calling them candle carousels, but they're inspired by these German Christmas pyramids. So these Christmas pyramids are a traditional German craft that has been around since the 1700s, so well before electricity. And we're gonna make our own upcycled version. So one of the things I like to do is to live by the 5 R's. To me, they're refuse, new stuff, reduce, reuse, recycle, and repair. So we're reusing stuff, which is kind of a form of recycling.
Yeah.
Most of this was stuff that I found around my house. And I'm hoping that if you want to make one of these, you can look around your house and do the same thing. So in 7th grade at McKinleyville Middle School, we talk about how if you don't have a certain material, we don't want people to go out and buy extra stuff. You should think about what modifications you could make to the project to still make it work with what you have.
Right. Like I wonder if you could open a soda can or a couple of soda cans.
You could. So that brings me to our next point, which there are some safety considerations with this project, because at one point we're going to use fire, which is always highly...
Candles, yay.
Yeah, in the form of candles. And we're going to cut these pie tins. So these
those edges will be pretty sharp once we cut them, huh?
Right, they are, but they wouldn't be as sharp as like a soda can or something like that. So these are kind of nice because they're a little more lightweight.
So this is one of those projects where you can probably find most of these things at home, and then you should check in with an adult just to make sure you have a little safety check. So we want you to make sure that if you do these sorts of things at home, that you've really thought about your safety plan and that you have a grown-up in the loop as you get going on these things.
With their permission, especially if you're scavenging your household for materials.
Yes.
And
our house,
scissors.
In our house, people are jealous about their scissors. Like if you have a good pair of scissors, you hide them so nobody else can find them.
Yes.
So if at your house people are possessive of their scissors, make sure you ask first.
Yeah, and if you use like a soda can, you'd probably need tin snips. So these you can get away with craft scissors, but don't use like somebody's fancy sewing scissors or hair cutting scissors. It'll make them go dull really fast. These are my 7th grade scissors, so these get heavily used and abused. So here's what could happen if in science, oftentimes things don't go exactly correctly. So just keep that in mind, especially on live TV. So we're under some pressure here. Here is what the finished product will look like if we get it to work.
Okay, so we have a goal. I'm very excited about that. It looks really great, by the way. How wonderful.
And I didn't decorate mine when I made my little prototype. My actual first prototype failed miserably, FYI. So it's good to try things out first before you go on live TV. Lesson learned. But this was my second one, which worked well. It is optional to decorate it. So these are STEAM projects, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, and you could totally decorate it. So I bought Sharpies for you if you want to use them.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So I have a materials list for you. So here's all the things you need, which is actually pretty short. The only thing I bought that I didn't already have was the double-sided tape. And I did try other things that I already own, and I couldn't get them to work, so I did buy double-sided tape.
And I see pie tins, scissors, straw, hex nut, skewers. These are all things where, like, if you didn't have a hex nut, you could probably figure out something else for it. But is the template someplace where viewers could access it?
Great question, Miss Baker. I highly, I can't stress this enough. Please use the template. And the template, this project is from a wonderful website called sciencebuddies.org. And they have, I mean, I've never counted, but they have like thousands of projects to do. So this template, and then there's a link that we'll post so you can go directly to this template. The template comes in super handy.
Okay, good.
And that was how I tried to wing it. I was like, I don't need no stinking template. I'm a science teacher. And then I needed a template.
Also, I think working in 7th grade, what we learn over and over again with 7th graders and ourselves is everything's easy until you try it, right?
Yes.
That goes for golf, it goes for art projects,
TV
it goes for
shows.
science, everything. Yeah.
Because some of you might be sitting at home correcting us.
Yes.
And
it's okay, go for it, we can take it.
Totally. So, yeah, that's a great point. And then what's at work here is a lot of science in the form of physics. So the heat
So if we look at this little diagram here.
Yeah. We have the hot air coming up from our candles, and your candles should be about 5 centimeters away from your blade once we're there. The hot air rises and hits the blade edge and creates lift. And then they just spin in a circle.
And I think some kids experience hot air rising at home. If you notice that if you sit at the floor level, your house is cool, and if you get up as high as you can in your house, the air is much warmer. Is you can feel hot air rising just in whatever room that you're in if you sit on the floor and then climb up on something really high, safely, of course. So if you're on top of the refrigerator, I did not tell you to do that.
Don't do that.
No. But just even in your own house, you can check and see that hot air really does rise, and that gives it can push those blades around.
Right, and I'm not even very tall, but if I stand with my arms up and when I have the oven on, I can feel the warmer air at the top of the room. Okay, so here's our instructions. Step 1, and Miss Baker's going to do one, and I'll do one alongside her. I also had to eat a lot of pumpkin pie to make this happen.
Oh, how heroic your efforts have been.
The sacrifices I make in the name of science. So we're going to try to, as neatly as we can, cut. We just want to end up with this base circle. So we're going to cut off the, what would you call it, this side?
Yeah.
The
rim.
The wall.
The edge.
The rim, the wall.
English is amazing, the number of synonyms you can come up with for anything.
And
It's
even
incredible.
this kind of stuff, you know, there's little tips and tricks, maybe to cut out a small section so you can get your scissors in there a little bit better.
Oh yeah, because it's kind of unbending it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. And then
And sorry if you don't like this noise.
Ms.
It's not.
Himango even brought us Band-Aids just in case something happens, so we even have our safety plan to that degree.
If you've ever been in my 7th grade class, you know I have a giant box of Band-Aids. And sometimes we have to have a sign on the wall that says days without accidents.
Oh no.
This is kind of sharp, but not too bad.
Yeah. Yep. And I do find it to be very satisfying, especially that tinfoil where you can kind of bend it into different shapes and it just holds its shape. Boy, these poor scissors. Oh yeah, do not use anyone's hair cutting scissors for this.
Yeah.
These are good scissors though.
They're not bad.
We are not racing, that would not be safe.
I spare no expense in my 7th grade classroom.
Yeah.
With the scissors, anyway.
Someone did a financial study of teachers once, and teachers either know to the penny how much money they're spending on their classroom because they write it off on their taxes. Or they have no idea because they throw away all the receipts because they're hiding it from their spouse.
Oh.
They do not want their partner to know what they're spending. So that was the results of the study of the 2 main reasons teachers either did or did not know how much they spent.
I don't keep track. Ignorance is bliss on certain things.
Yep, and if I want it, I just go have it.
Yes.
Yeah, too frustrating not to have stuff in the classroom.
Yeah.
There we go. Ha-ha. We're not racing, but I did win, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, and I actually think hers came out more neat and tidy, so I don't know how that happened. Because I've done this several times. You would think I'd be the master. So then we have the template, and I cut mine out, so I can cut yours out for you. And on the template, you only want to cut the solid lines. The dotted lines are where you're going to create the fold. So, and I would recommend taping it onto your tin disc. So you just kind of can't, it doesn't wiggle away from you.
See. Is that what the double stick tape is for?
I would use this tape because we definitely want to remove all paper since we're going to put fire under these.
Okay.
I mean,
and do I
unless we want to be extra exciting.
Can I just tape it down like a little belly button in the middle? Will that hold it, or should I tape more than that?
Maybe. What I did was I gently taped the edges in such a way that I could quickly remove it.
Got it. Okay.
Or easily. It didn't have to be quick. It had to be easy.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to fold the tape back on itself to make a little handle.
There you go. That's a good strategy.
When my sister and I were little, my mom used to joke that I fixed everything with a piece of string. Anything you could fix by tying it up with string. And my sister fixed everything with glue.
We all have our preferences.
Yes,
in the repair. My grandpa was really into duct tape.
Oh my goodness.
In fact, I know he said to me more than once in our overlapping lifetimes, just fix it with duct tape.
That is funny.
And
now, of
duct
course,
tape.
you can get like fashion duct tape.
Yeah.
Your grandpa probably would not have appreciated that.
No, and I found it's not as sticky, so.
Oh. Well,
because I'm all about the colorful, beautiful stuff.
Yes.
Unless it doesn't work as well.
Yeah, and then, well, forget it. There's form and there's function.
Right.
Okay. I think I'm ready to do whatever comes next here.
Okay, like mine's pretty sharp, so I don't want to run my hand along the edge.
Yeah.
So we're going to cut, don't cut into the depths of your circle. You want to just cut that straight edge.
So I'm just going to cut this line from the edge to near the center.
Exactly.
Okay, should I mark the center of my pie pan?
You certainly can. Marking the center is a great idea because one of the important things about this project is very much the balance.
Ah, okay.
So ultimately, we're going to be balancing our carousel top on a skewer on the pointy end of a skewer.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can get it to soak right through. Okay, there we go.
And
so I'll mark that in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to cut, how many cuts?
Cut the solid lines. I want to say, is it 8 or 6? 2.
I think it's 6. Okay. Oh, the scissor blades are perfect, aren't they? Look at that.
Yeah, they're a perfect length. Yeah, so if you have, and this is just a super standard pie tin. I thought some of you might have pie tins left over from if you had a Thanksgiving meal. Yes. So that's where mine are from. Some leftovers.
Yeah, look at that. Okay.
Mine has pumpkin pie on it still.
Lucky.
I know. Later on, if I get hungry.
I surveyed the students to see what their favorite holiday leftover food was, and I didn't assume that every family celebrated a traditional Thanksgiving, but a lot of families have some sort of feast on that fall week. And mashed potatoes and pumpkin pie were high up on the list. And some kids just wrote meat. They just want to eat meat. Okay.
A growing kid, yeah. I wonder if the, like for me, I think pumpkin pie is a treat because we really only eat it at this time of year.
Yeah. All right, so I've cut.
Okay. So now you're going to leave the template still on.
Okay.
Because the dotted lines on your template are where you're going to fold to make the windmill style shape.
Oh, I see a cut I missed too.
I missed one too, I see.
Okay, so I'm going to fold on that line.
And the area between the dotted line and the solid line is actually going to be like the top, so it's flat. So just to compare, it does help to look.
Oh, so the rectangle is the flat part, and then this one is the one that bends.
Yeah, so the triangular shape on the template is folded down, and the line style shape is going to be our surface.
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to go like that and see how that works.
Yes, and good technique, Miss Baker. She's folding her tin around the ruler, so she makes sure that she gets a nice, even, straight fold. I think that's a good idea.
And I'm already confused about what I'm doing. Oh, here I go. Okay.
Just go around the circle. I know.
There we go. It's surprising that I get confused. It seems like you're only doing one thing over and over again.
You are, but you get lost when it's circular, I guess.
Okay, here we go. I'm excited for the lighting the candles part, too.
Okay, so... And if we don't get to that part, we'll just watch the video repeatedly.
Oh, yeah. No, we're going to go fast. We're going to get this done. I want to light stuff. And I'm not worried too much about the angle of my veins right now because I can go back and adjust them once I have those creases in place.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing that's kind of amazing is this is kind of a forgiving medium.
Yes.
So you can absolutely... Wow, yours looks so good.
Okay, I'm very excited. Thank you for organizing this wonderful daycare for your neighboring teacher.
You're quite the crafter. I think I'm going to get rid of some of my garbage here to clean my work surface.
I think I just flung stuff down everywhere. And you know what I'm going to do now? Look, you got stuff all over. You should clean up over there.
Yeah, that's one strategy. Throw it at your...
That's what I do in restaurants. I put all my hors d'oeuvre plates in front of the person next to me so it looks like they ate it all.
Yeah, so Miss Baker has a really nice technique there.
Okay, so I'm just using the edge of the ruler so I can push a crease into the tin.
Yep.
And I have not worried about the angle of any of my blades. I've just sort of let them flop any old which way.
And I did bring a protractor, so if we wanted to measure, we could. The directions say 30 to 40 degrees. We're aiming for that zone in there. 30 to 40 degrees from the top.
Okay, good.
And I just eyeballed it and went from there. So now you can remove your paper template.
Okay, and I made little pull-away pieces on my tape.
Very smart.
Oh, I think it actually worked. Ha! Okay, and then I still don't have a good strategy for knowing where the center is. But I'll just, because I know it has to balance, right?
It does have to balance.
Oh, my ink went right through. My ink bled through.
Perfect. That's the good thing about a Sharpie.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh, I tried to blow on it. That did not work. I'll go like this.
That means she has a good mask on.
Yeah, it did not do anything.
So next up, we want to cut the straw.
Okay.
We want to cut our straw to 5 centimeters. So, and you guys, this is how hardcore I am. These straws, I've used them a long time ago. And I washed them. Because these are single-use plastic. And I'm sure people are aware of the horrible things that can happen to these in the environment, to animals and stuff.
So use them as much as possible.
Right.
So 5 centimeters?
5 centimeters.
Okay. I'm just going to chop it.
And that's what we're using that to build the shaft.
Okay.
To mount our carousel part on.
Okay.
Okay, and maybe I'll be your assistant here.
Okay.
So you want to fit, you can try either one of these hex nuts. So these, this one I scavenged from my neighbor. And when you live next to a science teacher, you never ever know what they're gonna need.
Oh, so you don't borrow a cup of sugar?
No, I don't borrow a cup of sugar.
Nuts.
I need a hex nut. Very specific, it needs to fit a drinking straw. And they don't question it, they just hand it over.
Yeah.
Unlike it's for school.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna, you can choose between them, whichever one you think.
That feels like a pretty good fit. You did good homework on that.
I got lucky. Because those,
and
again,
that goes here like
highly scavenged material.
Got it. And then, are we gonna hot glue or are we gonna tape or?
Okay, so remember I was saying try it before you go on live TV with it?
Oh, we're going to wing it right now, people.
No, I tried it.
Oh.
I tried it because I thought, yes, hot glue. Who doesn't love a project with hot glue? The problem with hot glue and hot candles.
Oh,
So
I get it.
and that's why
Did it all melt and fall apart? I'm so glad you tested this before we did it.
It didn't melt, but it didn't hold.
Yeah.
So double stick tape.
Ah, I love that stuff.
Yeah. And one thing that's super important is the shaft that we're building with the hex nut and the straw can't stick to anything because we're going to mount it on this skewer. So you can't get too crazy with your tape. You have to be very light-handed with the tape.
And so am I taping the straw inside the hex nut?
Yes, and then we're going to tape the hex nut to your carousel.
Ah, and that's where my dot comes in
And
handy.
yes, and this is
Okay.
where I'll be your assistant and give you little pieces of tape.
Okay, and am I gonna, okay, I got it.
And this is also the fun part of being a science teacher. At school, I do this.
Oh, I just pushed it into the counter. I can't pick it up.
There'll be double-sided tape here forever.
Okay, and I'm just gonna go like this.
And so don't block your straw opening.
Oh.
With the tape, because that is, we're literally going to balance it on this point.
Oh, okay.
And it needs to be free flowing. So what I did.
I just said, oh, okay, but I have no clue what we're talking about. Just, yeah, I just faked it, but I don't really know.
Fake it till you make
it. Yeah.
So you just want to tape, and this stuff is amazing. It will hold this hex nut in place. You just want to do the edge. So here's what
do the outside edge and I'm gonna make like a little Simpson bracket.
Okay, that's a good strategy. I don't know what a Simpson bracket is, but it sounds fancy.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna make like an L shape and stick it to the tin and the outside of the nut.
Okay.
And we'll see if that works.
And I'll hand you small pieces of tape.
Okay, good. Because I can't get into too much trouble. Oh yeah, I like how this is going. I'm feeling good about this.
And if it will hold, it doesn't have to hold a lot of weight. So from a structural standpoint, it doesn't have to be really strong.
Okay. You can see there's a lot of I enjoy like that little fiddling around with stuff to see if you can get it to work. I do enjoy that. Oh, do we have a joke or two to tell, by the way?
Oh my gosh, we do. So we ask our 7th grade students to share jokes with us to share with you.
Yes, and so we have one from Aiden. Thank you, Aiden, for the joke. If I remember it, why is the obtuse triangle always sad?
Why?
Because he's never right. Dink,
Ha-ha.
dink, dink.
Okay, I have a joke from Morgan, who is also in our 7th grade classes.
Yes.
Also about what do you do
Angles?
if you're cold?
What do you do if you're cold? I don't know.
Go stand in the corner because it's always 90 degrees.
Ching ching. Good job, Morgan. Yay.
Yep.
Thank you, Aiden. Thank you, Morgan, for the jokes.
And keep them coming, everyone.
I think I need one more, and then I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if I can
And we haven't needed to use the Band-Aids yet, so we're doing good.
And if worst comes to worst, we could use the Band-Aids to stick the nut to the tin foil.
Also
Okay, there
true.
we go. I have certainly fixed my glasses more than once with a Band-Aid. There we go. Okay.
Excellent.
I'm feeling good about this. What do we do next?
Okay, so next you need a fireproof container to run your little experiment
And we
in.
just cut ours up.
But never fear, there's another Thanksgiving Day.
Yay! We have a turkey tray.
And
Okay.
I scrubbed it pretty good. There could be turkey drippings in it. I think the downside of the turkey tray, though, is it doesn't lay totally flat.
Oh, okay.
So this is the fun part, I think.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's all pretty fun.
Yeah.
But you're going to use a piece of clay. So I just use
Okay.
modeling clay. You could use Play-Doh. You could use glue for this.
I think for this you could even like use a half a potato. Like you
Yeah.
could cut a potato in half and just
An
stick it in
apple.
there. Yes.
You could use a wine cork and glue it in.
Like that.
And then you want to cut your skewer to 20 centimeters. I should check my own directions here. I think that's right.
Okay.
But I pre-cut one for you.
Oh, thank you. Lovely.
Okay, and this is key, everyone. You want it as upright as possible.
Okay.
Because, again, one of the key components here is that we have some really nice balance.
Okay, so that looks pretty darn perpendicular, notice the math vocabulary, to the table.
And maybe it's 90 degrees in there.
Oh yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
It's about to be at least 90 degrees. Okay, so one thing you should do before we light the candles is you should, spin it with your hands to make sure it's free.
Okay.
And so notice it's not catching on any tape or anything.
It's not terribly well centered after all my work trying to get the dot in the middle. It's not very good, but oh well.
Well, and that might be a mild folding issue. So now with the candles, we want them, this is another thing we want to get really balanced. If we had infinite time, we would perfectly measure, but we've talked about on previous shows how our eyes are really good at detecting distance. So if you carefully eyeball it, you can see minor differences. So do you want to do the honors?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and this is the other part where you should, if you're, especially if you're a little one, get parent permission for this part.
And mostly what I have at my house is battery candles, which of course will not work.
They would not work. They don't give off quite enough heat.
Anything with a remote, I'm a sucker for it and I'll buy it. If
And
it's got a remote, I'm getting it.
You can, so you could experiment with the length of your skewer. You could experiment with the number of candles. You can experiment. I think we might need to get them. And keep in mind,
it's already going. Yay! Look at that.
I was going to say we might have to move the candles in closer.
That is so cool. It's doing
pretty cool. And this, as long as you have candles under it, this will work. I would move that far candle maybe a little bit in, and you could color it. So hopefully you see some of the potential that's available.
And also maybe just try to adjust to get a little more balanced, a little more centered, because you can see mine's a little off.
Yeah, so those are all things you could.
Oh, and I never adjusted the veins either. So they may not be at 30 degrees.
Oh, right. That's true.
Yeah, so that would be another thing we could measure. But it is going. So that is very exciting.
This would be a science, you could develop this into a science fair experiment by you could measure RPMs with, you could add candles, you could take candles away, you could use smaller candles.
Also? Is it, it's taken apart.
Yeah, I removed the shaft.
Oh, got it, okay. And you'll notice I cheated a little. I gave it a little nudge. But it is definitely for sure going, which is wonderful. And then did you have a little thing in your slideshow about the history or the picture of them? Could we see those again?
Sure.
Okay.
So one thing I wanted to say real quick is if you wanted to develop this into a science fair project, you can download light sensors for your phone, and your phone could actually measure the speed at which it's spinning.
Ah.
If you wanted. You could also count. But thank you guys so much for watching.
I bet you there are kits that you could get too. So if you wanted something that had some of it done for you, I bet there are kits where you can build your own.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you wanted to build a wood one, you certainly could.
Yes. Mine needs a little bit of a...
So thank you for watching.
Yes.
Beth will be back here on Thursday with Ken Pinkerton. Always exciting.
Do you want to say see you next year?
Yeah, I'll see you next year. Thank you.